Yo, I got this video from Sarunes. Hope I'm getting that right. The video is talking about the worst gacha update, which is the Infinite Nikke, and I played Nikke, bro. What the fuck? I played Nikki. Yeah, it's Nikki. What the fuck? What that whole shit just sounding weird now. Whatever. Well, I played Nikki when it dropped, and as soon as I saw what everything was going on about in that game, I dead ass felt like it was all like predatory and shit, that it was gonna be constant having to need to do roles and shit. And I don't know what the hell they gonna be fucking shit up now on this whole thing. And let's see how bad it is.
Games managed to destroy its goodwill in the space of just a few days. While the rest of the gacha space is forever on fire for various reasons, Infinity Nikki had been an oasis of calm. It was never going to last, since these games tend to start off with a bang to attract new players and then slowly degrade over time. But
Yeah.
a mere 5-month-long honeymoon period was far shorter than anyone would have guessed. If you think
Nah, yeah, this was like how long now? Like she said it was like 5 months when the game dropped, and now there's something. I mean, the title right there says it for itself. The worst gacha update ever made.
state of Wuwa, Genshin, Star
But like,
Rail, or any
you
of
can't
the others has
really
been bad.
fuck
Infinity
up
Nikki
a
right now makes
update
all
like
those
that.
other situations look kinda chill. Some might argue that it's bad to highlight this whole thing, but I think that's short-sighted. I love this game, and I want it to thrive. And for that to happen, Infold needs to hear the concerns of their players. The more people who are aware of it, the better. Before we get into the details, let's give a little context for anyone unfamiliar. Infinity Nikki is an open-world dress-up gacha game. Unlike
already
the
know
other
all this.
open-world gachas, it has very basic combat, and instead it's focused. While
My
I am a
experience? What is
sucker
that?
for exciting
She's gonna be talking
combat
about
and love games
what's
which
it
have
like?
more of a focus on that kind of gameplay, I enjoy other types of games just as much, and Nikki was basically made for me. I didn't have time to make a review when it first came out, and while it's been near the top of my to-do list ever since, other more pressing things kept coming first. In terms of genre, I'd actually say it's closest to the legendary 3D platformers of old. It echoes Spyro in particular. I've had so much fun with the platforming mechanics, and the boss fights in particular feel like an evolution of those ideas which have been left untouched by exploration games for far too long. The story
Like
did a
that was the one
fantastic
thing that
job
was
of
gravitating me towards the game was, I mean, obviously the costumes, and then the boss fights.
remaining lighthearted
Like
and
for me,
whimsical,
the
while still
boss fights
diving
in a
into
game
darker
like
themes
this
with
seem kind
surprising
of
levels
crazy.
of nuance. It wasn't the height of storytelling,
And I
but
think they
it
had
still managed to
platforming.
stand out and seemed to trust the audience more than other gachas. And I absolutely loved the dress-up side of things. I have spent countless hours playing The Sims, and I always get sucked into clothing customization in any game. Back when I played Red Dead
Same.
Online, I happily spent half an hour at a time in the dressing room before actually going out to shoot some cowboys. The clothes
Like
in Nikki are absolutely
with that one Roblox game, I forgot what it's called. Um, fuck, what's it called? Like that dress up game from Roblox, Dress to Impress. I played the shit out of that game, or that, yeah, the game. It was fire. I was right there just making some fire ass freaking fits.
absolutely stunning, with a level of detail and craft to them which is legitimately breathtaking at times,
Like that's a crazy design too. Like look at all this.
and they're actually relevant to the gameplay. I often want a game which will help me just relax, and Nikki was perfect for that. It's also worth noting why I generally had higher expectations for Infold than I do for other developers. Their founder looked at the games being published and saw that there was a gap. None of the other companies seemed to think about what kinds of games would appeal to women in particular. That's an entire half of the potential market which was being mostly ignored. And that isn't to say this game is just for women, or that women don't like all kinds of games, but there was a huge gap in the market for exactly this sort of game. And he was humble enough to recognize that the best people to design games to appeal to women would be women themselves, and he built his company with that in mind, to the point that right now, over 70% of the employees at the company are women. This was a logical and calculated strategy, and it worked. I still expected them to act like any
there gotta be some
corporation.
like
Their
fire
gachas
fits. Like,
do
look at
have a
that dress.
reputation for being on the predatory side after all, likely because they don't really have much
Well, yeah,
competition.
they gotta
But
make
since its
money.
founder was able to look past his bias and apply rational, objective logic to the state of the industry at large in order to find a niche which was underserved, I kinda expected the company to continue to be more rational and objective than average. So what happened? As an appetizer, before the main course, we got a little preview of what was to come a few weeks before the update dropped. Infold announced that they would give everyone 10 free pulls if the game reached 100,000 wishlists on Steam, plus an extra surprise for 200,000
Wait.
wishlists. Once they reached the goal, they tried to change their minds and sent out only 2 pulls for the 100k, with the 10 pulls saved for the higher target and the surprise
What?
forgotten completely. But this change made the community incredibly angry.
What
The
the
backlash quickly
hell?
made them backtrack and give out 20 pulls for the combined
Nah, what was that? That gotta be like the first that I see. Like a company actually doing something like this. Cause I don't remember there being any other game that's actually done something like that. Just take away their rewards? Like, that's crazy.
goals instead. Devs listened, I guess. The version 1.5 update was released at the end of April 2025, a little
What?
less than 5 months after the initial release, and it has been a
God, that
mess
dress
on
is
so
crazy.
many levels. The community was so excited for this patch at first. For one thing, this update would see the game release on Steam, making it accessible to a whole new audience. In addition, it was going to be a truly major update. The brand new co-op mode looked like it would be a ton of fun. A new miracle outfit was coming out, kinda similar to an Archon or Sentinel in terms of importance, but always available for free. We were getting extra colors for 4 and 5-star outfits, and the devs were touting it as a big optimization update for mobile users in particular. The new feature I was most excited for was the ability to dye outfits. Up until now, most outfits in the game came in 2 to 4 different colors, and you
Not yet, but like, well, I mean, I don't know if it has it on this one, but I know in other games they have it to where you have to buy the dye like in separate things.
obtained those
And I
different
just think that
colors
whole
by
thing is
pulling
dumb.
duplicates via the gacha system. The dye system had been trialed in an event in a previous patch, and it provides so much flexibility by letting us recolor any individual item to any of dozens of different colors. It's hard to emphasize to outsiders how awesome that idea is. Half of the fun of the game comes from the joy of creating outfits, and having exponentially more
Yeah,
swatches
but
at our
like, why not
fingertips
just
will
add in a
unlock so
slider?
much creativity. Unfortunately, the moment we opened the game after the update, we were all confronted by something completely unexpected. A retcon which rendered the entirety of the original story pointless. New players and veterans alike were shoved into a new intro tutorial the moment they opened the game,
They
which
switched the
clumsily
intro
introduced an
tutorial?
unfamiliar goddess who tells Nikki that she's actually an amnesiac space traveler and her world has been destroyed. And of course,
What the
everything the
hell?
original players saw in
That
that
was
OG opening
not how I
sequence
saw in
was
the other
just
one.
wiped from her memory. Worse, the replacement story was disjointed and awkward. It fails to ground itself in anything relatable, it does a poor job of introducing Nikki and her sidekick, and it just fundamentally fails at giving us any reason to care. The destruction of the world, which she no longer remembers, doesn't even matter at all because stuff like that now just happens all the time. Nikki is immortal, and at any point she can just peace out and go to a fresh universe, so literally everything now feels empty
So
and
it just means
pointless.
nothing?
This
Yeah.
is a perfect example of an age-old trap in storytelling. People think that the wider scope and higher stakes will make for a more impactful story, but humans struggle to emotionally connect to large concepts like the world is at risk, and instead feel far more emotion towards individuals whose story is relatable. We struggle to visualize the suffering of thousands of people, but the moment we hear just one story, it puts everything into a context we can instinctively understand. I wish people would learn this lesson. It even falls flat as a tutorial. The original opening sequence steadily introduced the core gameplay mechanics in a way which felt natural, logical, and
Yes.
tightly integrated into the narrative.
Because I think that's where
The
I
new
saw
one
that
is
there was actually
objectively
like
worse.
platforming
The new opening
involved.
sequence is at least visually stunning, but even the graphics are a little glitchy at times with some very obvious clipping, and in the end, the vast majority of fans just despise the fact that it exists. And just think about the idea
Dang,
of
so they didn't like that either?
a retcon for a minute.
Well, I mean, were they even able to see it?
Whether you play Genshin, Wuwa, Star Rail, or anything else, how would you feel if you got invested in the story over the course of several
Yeah, and then
months,
they just
and then
switch
the
it
devs
up.
suddenly said, sorry, we're telling a different
Yeah, but like, I mean, I don't know about Wuwa's story. I haven't touched the story. I've just been exploring. And I don't know if No, I think they were gonna switch it. Because I remember people talking about that. Oh no, I think it was the voice acting that was just dry.
Story now, and none of that stuff you cared about really happened. Even people who were only half interested would probably be upset, and the people who actually liked it would be devastated. And they didn't even announce that anything like this was coming. I had always loved the gentle absurdity of Nikki waking up in this land where clothes have magical powers and taking it upon herself to solve this crazy calm apocalypse plaguing the world. The game had this beautiful, ethereal quality. The story, the landscapes, the magic, even the light and floaty way that Nikki moves. The whole thing felt like a dream. The retcon's main purpose seems to be to introduce the idea of alternate universes so that the multiplayer system fits in the lore of the world. It's bizarre that they felt the need to do that in the
So
first
they
place.
switched
Co-op
it for the
doesn't need to be
multiplayer?
canon. But if they really insist, everyone and their mother's dog understands the idea of alternate universes in any sci-fi or fantasy. It doesn't need an explanation. Or if they had just leaned into the dream aspect as the explanation, then literally nobody would have cared. In a dream, anything goes. It may have had a deeper motivation, however. Some have noted that they no longer market the game as cozy and may instead have hoped to bring in a wider audience. If that's the truth, then whoever made that decision just flat out made a huge mistake.
Yeah,
Many
nah.
in the community legitimately want the devs to roll back the update. If they don't, I would be unsurprised if the game loses so many players that it prematurely reaches end of service. And that was just the beginning.
So the
This
game was
update
just too
also
cozy.
unleashed a biblical plague of bugs into the game. Up until now, it had been impressively stable. Despite the incredible level of detail, especially when it came to the clothes, the game was smooth and reliable. And the worst I personally experienced was the rotation controls in the camera mode being broken for a few weeks one time. Some people had their in-game photos wiped at one point, but for the most part, it was a solid launch. After 1.5, a huge chunk of players couldn't even log into the game, and many are still unable to a week after the update. Those of
the
us who
hell?
can log in have to deal with an absolute mess. Think WUWA launch day level technical issues, but worse. For some, the game just constantly crashes and is completely unplayable. For the rest of us, it stutters and lags, and at its worst, it takes a second to reconnect to servers many times per minute. Sometimes the
Damn.
controls simply stop working in-game. I've had to restart my game many times after Nikki stopped responding to controller inputs. The
Bro, that's dead as with me and Oblivion, the remaster. Well, I mean, I ain't touched that game since I ain't save, and then I lost like 2 hours of progress. I ain't touched that game since.
The game sometimes freezes when just looking at
But
menus. There
Oblivion
have been
is like
countless UI
stuttery
bugs
as
across
hell.
every corner of the game, and the friend list system outright deleted friendships from a lot of people's accounts.
They
The quests
deleting
are broken
friends
for
too? What kind of bug does that?
many, some are inexplicably locked, many are entirely missing voiceovers which had previously existed, and cutscenes often fail to trigger,
And there's-
preventing people from completing
What?
things. For many who had a cutscene fail to load, the game is effectively soft-locked. They can load up and run around, but they can't do anything now because they're stuck in a quest which fails to end. For some players,
That
the
is
opening
crazy.
tutorial got soft-locked, and since it's completely unskippable, they were effectively unable to even
What?
start the game. What a wonderful welcome that must have been for new players excited to finally try it.
Damn.
And, of course, even if you did manage to get into the game, those much hyped co-op features which everyone had been excited for just pretty much did not work at all. And for those of us who played from the start and spent money on the game, I spent £100 on this dress because the game had brought me so much joy and the outfit was just
I mean, look at that. That shit just looks fire.
sublime. After the update, the dress is bugged. It no longer looks the way it should. This is a minor issue compared to the dumpster fire that is the rest of the game right now, but it really feels like a punch in the gut.
Damn.
The poor devs have been working hard to fix the issues, and the game has become noticeably more stable for me in the past week, but it's still a far cry from how great it ran before this update, and many people are still experiencing game-breaking issues. It's especially ironic after they hyped up the optimizations they made for this patch. And then there's the monetization.
hyping it up
First
too?
off, that awesome new dying feature that I mentioned, which unlocks so much scope for creativity and customization in the game. In the event, which trialed the mechanic, you unlock dyes by collecting materials from the open world. Now that it's a real thing, the materials are rare and currently not farmable. You get them as a reward for certain events and quests. Or you can buy them with real-world money. Worse, each color palette isn't unlocked per set, it's per item. At this point, a collector like me will have several
What?
hundred items in the game, and that collection will only increase over time. So we're talking thousands of swatches available. And if you want to unlock all of the palettes, you also need to have the highest evolution of that item. That means that in addition to the premium materials you have to buy with real-world money, you also need to pull for duplicates of the outfit too if you want to be allowed to buy the palettes at all. That means that if you want to have full use of this feature, you'd have to buy hundreds or even thousands of premium items.
Oh,
And
so they
if
do
you're
got
free to play, good luck with that.
the
This
wheel.
feature that everyone was so excited about ended up being insanely expensive. But that wasn't even the
I mean,
biggest
that's where they
problem
get
people
you.
had. To understand the implications of
That's
the
where
change that many
gacha
players
ass.
are most upset by, we'll have to quickly explain the game's gacha system. Each outfit has a certain number of items: a dress, a necklace, shoes, socks, and so on. Most 5-star outfits have 9 to 10 items, for example. When you pull, you're guaranteed to get one of these items every 20 pulls, and you're also
And isn't it like a piece that you get from it? So it's not even the whole thing?
guaranteed to not get any duplicates until you've collected the entire set. Soft pity is very high. Most of the time it takes around 18 pulls per
Like, look at
5-star
that. That means like 1 of 8. That means you gotta get like, what, 7 more? Before you get like the whole thing?
item. That means that for every fancy 5-star outfit, it takes up to 200 pulls to get the full set. With soft pity set so high, it was already far less generous than the more popular open world gachas, despite the slightly lower cost of 120 premium currency per pull compared to the usual 160. To make it feel less painful, the game included a system where you collect some rewards for every other 10 pull, which softened the blow. As I mentioned earlier, there are 4 different color versions of each 5-star outfit. You get the second color through this extra reward system after pulling 180 times on the banner, and you get the third after 230 pulls. Still a lot of pulls, but compared to the duplicate systems
what,
in
does
other
that
games,
reset?
it wasn't actually all that bad. The fourth version, however, you get only via the gacha system, so to get all 4 colors, it costs up to 400 pulls. It is worth noting that you're not required to pull the entire outfit to use any individual piece, but you do need every piece if you want to use any special ability it provides. And you can't unlock the 4th color for individual items, so you need the full second set to get those colors. Also, player statistics have suggested that the pull rates for the most valuable pieces, the hair and the dress for example, may be lower, and you're more likely to get them much later on. So what did they change in this update? They introduced 2 outfits with 11 items. According to speculation, based on some cinematics that they
11?
quietly updated, it was originally going to be 10, but at the last minute they added some extra socks which you can't even see when the dress is
Bruh.
equipped. This would be the equivalent of those other games
That's
adding
just
a
an
new character who
extra.
is not any more powerful than the others, but costs an extra 20 pulls to get. People
Yes.
were understandably livid. This increase also means that the premium
That
color
just
palettes
doesn't
are
that mean
even
that you just gotta do more to try to get the thing that you want?
more expensive than they might have been already. This game is already quite expensive even for a gacha, since
Bro,
the company
it is a dress collection simulator, and they're making you get it by pieces.
has zero competition for its target
I mean,
audience.
that's been
This
like
new
the whole thing
outfit's
from when
increased
the game
price felt
started.
like a slap in
That's
the
why I,
face,
like,
and people
continue
are
playing.
understandably concerned that this would be just the beginning. What would stop them from adding outfits with even more items in the future? Their other games have had outfits with 17 pieces after all.
Damn.
They also added a bathtub, a mostly cosmetic item which costs $10, but with a label saying its original price is $50 and proclaiming an 80%
I think that's crazy. Wait, aren't they trying to hit things that are doing something like this? Cause like apparently that, I mean, it's happening in like, what's that game called, Overwatch, and I think Fortnite, where they were giving discounts on things that weren't even out before, and I think that's something that you can't really do.
discount. This is illegal where I live. The game doesn't even have a housing system yet, so it's bizarre that they're adding furniture at all, let alone making it cost real-world money, and that fake discount is unacceptable. This detail might sound like a small issue, and they did remove the misleading messaging, but it's jarring to see these kinds of tactics added to the game. It's reminiscent of the worst aspects of the industry, and it sets a very worrying precedent going forward. They also changed the Mirror Crown, a repeatable styling challenge which is the closest thing Nikki has to an end game. They left the gameplay intact and it gives us the same amount of rewards as it did previously. However, while it used to refresh every 2 weeks, after the update it was set to refresh every 3 weeks instead. Essentially, that cut the free-to-play currency from the endgame by a third. They have since rolled back this partially so that it now refreshes on the 1st and 16th of every month, but people are still unhappy about this to say the least. It's quite something to see them cut the free-to-play rewards at the same time as they introduce so many things designed to make us reach into our wallets. Naturally, the Nikki community is in uproar. Almost every part of the community has been flooded with complaints, and as people learned about the retcon, the bugs, and the
For some reason, the old intro and the threads of the green.
changes to the gacha system, their anger
Kinda
built up
meme is
more
that?
and more. Many looked for a way to express their displeasure to the devs in the most effective way possible, and calls for a boycott of the game quickly gained traction, advocating for people to hold back on pulling for the new outfit, at least for the first 3 days, since that will greatly affect the revenue projections. Until they were deleted, of course. On the official
What the
Discord and
hell?
Reddit, as well as in the comments under their official posts on their platforms, any comments or messages or posts which mentioned the boycott immediately disappeared. Players quickly
Now
shifted to
that's
the term
crazy.
girl cut instead, and the cycle repeated itself. Some people were even getting
Bro, that is just gonna make it like come out more. I don't know what the hell they trying to do with just trying to like silence the people trying to fucking do something good.
banned for mentioning it. This
They
is
getting banned too?
probably the first time I've seen a global gacha community this united for a cause. There are, of course, still people who defend the corporations and call the players entitled, greedy, and spoiled, but for the
Bro.
first time, we're witnessing real unification and collective effort with all regions completely
Sounding
in
like the
agreement.
damn
The one
Genshin
place which
players.
isn't quite so vocal is the content creator sphere. While each creator in one of the Nikki programs may have signed a unique NDA which could prevent them from speaking out, everyone I've seen for any game is entirely focused on protecting confidential information only and would not prevent sharing of an honest opinion about information which is public. If any company ever tried that, I would just refuse to sign unless it changed. Chances are the creators are keeping quiet on their own accord. Maybe because they haven't experienced bugs nor worry about pull costs, or maybe they're worried about some potential consequences in the future if they do speak out, or maybe they just do not want to cover anything which feels too negative. I am in one of these programs due to my Twitch streams, and I have also been collecting my thoughts for a review video which would have absolutely glazed the hell out of this game as one of my favorite games, and explained why even people who could not care less about the idea of dress up might have actually enjoyed large parts of the game. But I would have felt uncomfortable covering this game at all anymore without making this video first. Personally, I don't see this as spreading negativity. It's about spreading awareness. It's vital to be unbiased and objective when our favorite games mess up. And it's important to demand better treatment and the respect we deserve. If I end up getting kicked out of the program because of this, or even locked out of future opportunities, then that would speak volumes.
Bro, if that were to happen, that's probably. I mean, I don't know who this is, but like, I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of people gonna be talking about it.
After all, if we want the game to survive, they need to fix this. Happy players become happy spenders if they can. If we care about the future of this
But I
game,
mean, they just trying to make some money. So
the last thing we should do is keep silent. As to Infolt's response so far, well, you've seen a little
they probably
preview
said
of it
nothing or
already
something.
in how they handled the calls for boy or girl cut. They posted an apology letter on Twitter, which started off with a statement of their vision for the new direction of the game and an acknowledgement that they fell short of expectations. They recognized the issues with performance and crashes and mentioned that their teams have been working immediately to address the issues. They mentioned fixing over 100 bugs so far, including a list of several important ones, along with another list of others which will be high priority in the next few days. Then,
frequent startup errors on the PS5 platform. Performance experience issues in multiplayer gameplay.
they clarified a few things. The one which many people cared about the most was the increase to the max pity on the banners, and here they started off with a long justification for why they did this, followed by an apology that they didn't announce the change before making it. They guaranteed
Wait. What the fuck? Am I hearing that right?
max pity on the bed with another list of others which will be high priority in the next few days. Then they clarified a few things. The one which many people cared about the most was the increase to the max pity on the banners, and here they started off with a long justification for why they did this, followed by an apology that they didn't announce the change before making it.
So they changed the pity system without even announcing that they changed it. I mean, that's bad either way, but like, it's not as deep as like switching rates.
Guaranteed that new 5-star outfits will not exceed 11 items and any future changes will be communicated in advance. They then announced the tweak to the Mirror Crown endgame mode, confirming that the mode will now reset on the 1st and 16th of every month. For the dying feature, they simply stated that they're working on a more advanced feature in the future which includes further customization options and richer visual effects. They gave out the traditional Gachapology reward, 10 limited pulls, 10 standard pulls and 10 pulls worth of currency, and finished off with a hopeful message asking for one more chance. All of this was, sadly, unsatisfactory.
Bro, like, what the hell are you trying to do? You deadass just gave the type of response of I'ma just give them what they want, at least like something, like throw them some scraps.
The 5-star outfits was the worst offender.
Like there's all
the
these
way
bugs
they worded
and
it
then
seemed conciliatory.
Oh, that fit look crazy.
Was the worst offender.
Where's
the way they worded it.
That should go crazy. It reminds me like something from the Alice in Wonderland thing.
It seemed conciliatory, but if you actually read what they said, it confirms that the outfits with 11 items are here to stay, and that if they feel like going further in the future, all they said they'll do is tell us first. They did not reference what people actually want them to do to fix this. Guarantee that regardless of how many items an outfit contains, it will never require more than 180 pulls to complete. Sadly, it looks like this won't happen. The other part skirted the point as well. The Mirror Crown announcement had no acknowledgement that this is a reduction in player rewards compared to how things worked previously, and the dying feature statement is irrelevant to the actual problems people have with the way it's currently structured. This was a non-apology which does not address the actual issues people have. I do not expect much from gacha companies, but even I'm disappointed. I'm still willing to give them another chance.
Look, I'm not even gonna lie, the one that I've been seeing the most that's actually giving out some stuff is one, obviously the Woo-Wah, but that's after what the hell was happening. And then Nikke. Not this one, the other one. Goddess of Victory. Like, the rates in that game is just so damn good. And then when I'm playing Woo-Wah, that shit is just garbage. But they give you so much shit too.
But only if they actually address all of our concerns. It's worth noting that the kinds of decisions which have torpedoed this update are generally not in the hands of the developers, and instead are controlled entirely by executives. The developers, meanwhile, will be working overtime to fix the issues which were likely caused by this gigantic change in direction. They're victims of this as much as the players are. Most of the bugs I've encountered personally have been fixed now that we're a week or so from the update, and from a technical perspective, they're cleaning up the mess. It's now up to the executives to decide whether they care enough to clear up the rest. I love this game with my entire heart. To me, Infinity Nikki has been a perfect game from day one, catering to all my needs for cozy magical world that lets me escape from all the stress and worries of real life, and an outlet for creativity with putting together gorgeous outfits and organizing beautiful photo shoots. I want this game to continue being successful, and it breaks my heart to see them seemingly throw away all that they had built. The question which echoes inside my head is why? Predatory mechanics are par for the course in any gacha game, but the speed at which they're making them worse is shocking. While the bugs are an unfortunate and inexplicable own goal, at least they're fixing those. But why would a company take a successful story with a thriving community who love it and just delete the whole damn thing? So far, I can't even imagine any—
Like, on this type of game, there was literally no reason why you should be failing. Like, you are literally the only one. But I mean, I guess motherfuckers do be getting greedy. Shit, alright, peace out.